The Legend of Jigong, Chapter 117.
So we are in the city of Lenin, which is modern-day Hangzhou, and our setting is a bustling wine shop. But crucially, this wine shop is situated directly across the street from the city's execution grounds.
Right, and the setting is a deliberate literary device here. It is the ultimate liminal space.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
The text places the audience in a spot where ordinary citizens are just casually eating and drinking on one side of the street, while state-sanctioned death is being administered on the other.
Wow.
It forces the reader to confront mortality while looking at the mundane acts of daily life.
Right, and sitting inside this mundane wine shop, plotting amidst the lunch rush, are two incredibly dangerous men. We have Zhao Liang, known in the underworld as the Golden-Faced Ghost, and his partner He King, the command-enforcing ghost. Now, my assumption for an elite assassin plotting a jailbreak at an execution is that they'd be wearing the 12th century equivalent of a gray hoodie, you know? Just keeping their heads down.
You would think so, right? But the text actually goes out of its way to spend an entire paragraph describing Zhao Liang's outfit.
It's wild.
He is wearing a slashy purple hat, a purple robe tailored with tight arrow sleeves for combat, a vibrant silk belt, and this brilliant sapphire blue hero's cloak that is heavily embroidered with a massive gold peony.
Just incredibly subtle.
Right, yeah. And his face is described as pale gold, framed by thick eyebrows and large eyes.
So they are absolutely not blending in. I mean, they are dressed like they're walking a red carpet for criminals.
Exactly, because they are projecting authority. In the context of the Jianghu, the Rivers and Lakes, which is the metaphorical alternative society of martial artists and outlaws.
Right, the underworld.
Yep. Appearance is intrinsically linked to reputation. The patrons in the wine shop immediately recognize that these two are not average citizens. They exude an aura of martial prowess that demands respect, and they're leveraging that intimidation to sit unbothered while they listen to the tavern gossip.
And the gossip is all about their sworn brother, a notorious bandit named Hua Yunlong, the universe-stealing mouse.
What a name.
I know, right? And this guy has been on an absolute tear through the region. He has murdered people in a nunnery, committed assassinations at a famous tower, and stolen priceless artifacts like jade bracelets and phoenix coronets directly from the prime minister's estate.
He's a menace.
Yeah, the local magistrates and their fast horses, which is basically the ancient equivalent of a SWAT team, they were completely outmatched by him.
Because Hua Yunlong represents the pinnacle of outlaw success. He is a top-tier criminal who operates entirely outside the boundaries of the law, creating a massive headache for the state.
Yeah.
And the two men in the tavern, Zhao Liang and He King, are bound to him by deep underworld fraternity oaths. They aren't just friends, they are sworn brothers in a society that values loyalty above life itself.
Right, and their plan reflects that extreme loyalty. They're going to storm the execution grounds right across the street, rescue Hua Yunlong, and then track down and assassinate the person responsible for capturing him.
Right.
And they find out from the terrified whispers in the tavern that the man who finally took down this unstoppable super thief wasn't a general or a rival martial artist. It was this beggar monk named Jigong.
And the tension peaks right as they solidify this plan for bloody vengeance. I mean, they have their target, they have their motive.
And then the door of the tavern swings open and Jigong himself walks in.
It's perfect timing.
Just this ragged, filthy monk strolls right into the middle of the room, loudly tells the entire tavern to quiet down, and announces, "I am the monk who captured Hua Yunlong. The one who caught him is me. If anyone is unhappy about it, come and find me."
It's incredible. By loudly owning his actions and offering himself up as a target, Jigong initiates a masterclass in psychological disruption.
Yes.
The assassins were preparing to be the hunters. They wanted the element of surprise, relying on their stealth and timing. Jigong forces them to react to him on his terms, stripping them of their initiative before a single weapon is even drawn.
It's like a superhero walking casually into a known supervillain hangout, ordering a coffee, and deliberately painting a giant neon target on his own back.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the type of people who would be loitering near an execution ground on the day a famous outlaw dies.
I would categorize this as weaponized vulnerability.
Yeah.
Typically, conflict resolution in these classic epics relies on overwhelming force or cunning ambushes.
Right, big fight scenes.
Exactly. But Jigong weaponizes the fact that he looks completely defenseless. The assassins are so thrown by his lack of self-preservation that it short-circuits their training.
They don't know what to do.
Right. Zhao Liang and He King are paralyzed by confusion. They sit there thinking, this dirty beggar is the guy who took down our brother. They decide to wait, watch him, and strike later They believe they are exercising tactical patience, but they're already dancing to his tune.
He even sits down near them and orders his own food and wine, just sharing their space. But before the assassins can formulate a new plan inside the tavern, the atmosphere is shattered by the sound of gongs outside.
The execution.
Yeah, the execution procession is coming down the street. And the author suddenly shifts the camera away from the tavern and focuses intensely on this parade of condemned men.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, why spend so much narrative real estate on criminals who are about to die anyway?
That's a great question. The Parade of the Condemned is a brilliant literary device used to hold a mirror up to society. Public executions in imperial China weren't just punishments. They were theatrical displays of state power meant to restore cosmic order.
Wow, cosmic order.
Right. And by zooming in on the individual criminals walking to the chopping block, the author provides a psychological cross-section of the underworld. It shows us exactly how different types of people confront the undeniable reality of their own mortality.
And the text gives us a very detailed look at these reactions, and they are incredibly distinct. So the first guy is Tian Gobin, the town mountain leopard. His arms are bound tightly behind him. He's wearing the wooden execution placard on his back, and he is just screaming defiance at the crowd. He's yelling about how if the king of hell orders death at the third watch, no one can live to the fifth, claiming he's a roaring hero who doesn't fear the blade at all.
And Tian is projecting a very specific type of outlaw fatalism. In the Greenwood culture, the Lulin, which is the ancient term for this outlaw society.
Like villains.
Yeah. Showing fear at the moment of death was the ultimate disgrace. His yelling is a performance. He is trying to cement his legacy as a tough guy because in his mind, reputation outlasts death.
So it's all an act.
Basically, yeah.
Then the second guy, Wang Tong, the iron-legged ape, he takes a totally different route. He isn't trying to sound philosophical. He is purely fueled by supernatural rage.
Yes.
He admits he was arrested for trying to assassinate the prefect, a man named Yang Zaisi, to avenge his own brother. And as he walks to his death, he is screaming curses, promising that his ghost will crawl back from the underworld to capture the prefect alive.
So we see false bravery from the first man and useless, impotent rage from the second.
Right.
The narrative then immediately contrasts these loud, dramatic displays with a deeply grounded, tragic, emotional register.
Yeah, and this was the part that really struck me. The third man in line is Liu Chang, the wild pheasant. He isn't yelling or cursing. He's just shuffling forward with his head down, radiating despair. Because he realizes he's only walking to his death because he was unfairly implicated by the main bandit, Hua Yunlong. The law isn't distinguishing between the mastermind and a minor accomplice. He's just collateral damage.
Exactly. And in grand epics of heroes and villains, collateral damage is almost never given a voice.
That's so true.
The author uses Liu Chang as quiet devastation to ground the reader in the ugly reality of what Hua Yunlong's glorious outlaw lifestyle actually produces.
Yeah, it strips away the glamour.
Right. The text is systematically dismantling the romantic myth of the rogue bandit. Hua Yunlong's adventures might sound thrilling when sung in a tavern, but the actual byproduct of his life is leaving a trail of victims like Liu Chang, men dying for crimes they barely participated in.
Which makes Hua Yunlong's entrance into the plaza just infuriating. The universe-stealing mouse himself is the sixth man in the procession, and he is laughing.
Of course he is.
He's actively joking with the executioners in the crowd. He brags loudly, saying, "I am the universe-stealing mouse. Since I was born, I've murdered over 100 people. I ate whatever delicacies I wanted. I wore whatever silks I wanted. What is there to rejoice in life, and what is there to fear in death?" And then he turns to the older criminals in front of him and says that since they are sworn friends, the older men should walk ahead of him into death, like he's politely holding a door for them at a banquet.
Hua Yunlong is displaying the ultimate distilled essence of the Greenwood Brotherhood ethos. He is framing his life of violent crime as an expression of pure, unadulterated freedom.
Wow.
And by offering to let his elders die first, he is trying to impose the strict social hierarchy of the outlaw world onto the very mechanism of state execution.
I really have to call out his speech, though. It reads like the most toxic, performative, macho bravado imaginable.
Oh, absolutely.
He's treating 100 murders like a high score on an arcade cabinet. And it's incredibly narcissistic. He's grandstanding about his lavish lifestyle, eating and wearing whatever he wanted, while completely ignoring the guy 3 paces ahead of him, Liu Cheng, who is weeping because Hua ruined his life.
Yeah.
Hua claims that dying together is this beautiful act of loyalty, but it's just a twisted justification for the collateral ruin he Hebei's caused.
The author wants you to feel that frustration. The text presents this entire spectrum. Tian's fatalism, Wang's rage, Liu Rui's despair, and Huai's toxic narcissism to prove a point.
Okay, wishes.
None of these men are facing death with true clarity. They're all desperately clinging to their egos and their constructed identities right up until the blade falls. They're entirely consumed by the illusion of their own narratives.
Right.
This elaborate, bloody setup of false bravery serves as the perfect philosophical foil for the bizarre actions Jigong is about to take inside the wine shop.
Okay, let's look at those actions because the contrast is wild. The execution begins outside, the crowd is roaring. Inside the tavern, the assassins, Zhao Liang and He King, hear the commotion and realize the moment has arrived.
It's go time.
They reach for their swords, the tavern waiter dives under a table, screaming for his life. Zhao Liang grips his hilt, pulls the blade halfway out of the scabbard, and then we get the anticlimax of the century.
The physical conflict reaches its absolute apex and is instantly, effortlessly neutralized by the divine.
Jigong simply points a single finger at the two assassins and says, decree of He.
Yeah.
That's it. Both elite, highly trained killers are instantly frozen in place. They can see, they can hear, they can breathe, but they cannot move a single muscle. They are completely paralyzed mid-draw.
This specific type of magic in classic Chinese literature is often used to demonstrate the superiority of spiritual attainment over mere physical conditioning.
I see.
Martial arts, no matter how elite, are bound by the physical world. Jigong operates on a cosmological level.
And it happens while the most visceral, violent reality is taking place outside the window. While these assassins are frozen, trapped in their own bodies, they are forced to watch as their sworn brother, Hua Yunlong, is decapitated. The head rolls. The crowd scatters. The exact thing they dedicated their lives to stopping has happened, and they couldn't even draw their swords.
The juxtaposition the author creates here is structurally brilliant. You have the ultimate high-stakes failure for these assassins and the bloody, irreversible reality of the execution. And how does a normal protagonist react to successfully neutralizing a threat and witnessing the death of a major villain?
Usually with a dramatic speech or a stern warning, right?
Right.
But Jigong ignores them completely. He walks up to the terrified tavern owner and says, "Hey, put my drinks on a tab."
The tonal whiplash is totally intentional.
It's so funny. The owner, who is probably just happy to be alive, says, "Sure, Jigong, your disciples already told us not to charge you. We'll collect the money from Lord Yang during the holidays." And then Jigong says, "Actually, can I get one more thing for you? Do you have an old pumpkin? Or a winter gourd, depending on the translation."
Yeah, a gourd.
The owner hands one over. Jigong hoists this large vegetable onto his shoulder, ignores the frozen assassins entirely, and just strolls out the front door.
The author is brilliantly subverting every established rule of the martial arts genre here.
Completely.
In a standard wuxi narrative, this scene demands a kinetic fight sequence. Tables shattering, swords clashing, acrobatics.
Right.
By rendering the assassins completely immobile with a single muttered word, and then treating a pumpkin and a bar tab with infinitely more importance than their blood vendetta, Jigong profoundly diminishes their power.
It's like being the only sober person in an escape room.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
You know, everyone else is screaming, sweating, and tearing the room apart looking for clues to survive, and Jigong is just sitting in the corner doing a crossword puzzle because he knows the door was never locked in the first place. He makes their entire struggle look ridiculous.
That analogy captures the mechanics of his philosophy perfectly. The magic spell, this decree of He, isn't just a convenient superpower to avoid writing a fight scene. It functions as a narrative mechanism.
How so?
It physically manifests how entirely insignificant the assassin's worldly struggles are when compared to true enlightenment. To Jigong, their grand operatic assassination plot requires less attention than securing a squash.
It is deeply humiliating for them. They're standing there locked in this aggressive, hyper-masculine pose, watching the target of their vengeance walk away singing a song about how utterly pointless their lives are.
And he doesn't just leave. He drops a philosophical bomb on his way out. He sings a mountain song that explicitly outlines the intellectual engine driving his bizarre behavior.
The lyrics are incredible. He's walking down the street, balancing a pumpkin, singing about the emptiness of life. He sings that people foolishly try to be heroes, getting lost in wine and illusions.
Right.
He compares their struggles to a cat trying to catch a mouse, just a cycle of pointless, instinctual effort. Time flows like an arrow, and eventually everyone just ends up buried in the dirt. He explicitly tells the listener that if you look closely, life is just a dream of Nanki.
And a dream of Nanki is a foundational Chinese literary idiom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it stems from a Tang dynasty story about a man who falls asleep under a locust tree. In his dream, he travels to the kingdom of Nanki, marries the princess, becomes a high-ranking political official, lives an entire lifetime of immense wealth, status, political maneuvering, and eventual bitter disgrace.
Wow, a whole lifetime.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then he wakes up. He realizes only a few hours have passed, and the magnificent kingdom he ruled was actually just an anthill under the tree.
Oh, wow.
So the idiom represents the illusory, fleeting nature of wealth, power, and human ambition.
That context perfectly frames the second half of his song, where he starts name-dropping historical heavyweights. He sings, "What is the point of talking about the three kings or the five hegemons? What is the point of Su Qin's brilliant debating skills or Shang Yu's incredible heroism?"
Right.
For anyone unfamiliar, Shang Yu was one of the most feared military leaders in ancient Chinese history, a conqueror known for his overwhelming physical strength and tragic battlefield death. Jigong is basically saying, sure, Shang Yu was the toughest guy in the room. Where is his strength now? It's dirt.
Jigong is systematically dismantling every pillar of human achievement that traditional society values. Military might, political cunning, intellectual brilliance. In the face of cosmic time and mortality, they all equate to the exact same pile of dust.
Which serves as a direct, brutal rebuttal to Hua Yunlong's bragging on the execution ground earlier. Hua was flexing about his 100 murders and his silk clothes, thinking he had somehow won the game of life.
Yeah, he thought he beat the system.
Right. But Jigong's song points out that even emperors and conquerors end up as fertilizer. A brief crime spree in the provinces means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of the universe.
What is crucial here is how Jigong contrasts their worldview with his own spiritual state. He sings about having seen through the rolling red dust.
The red dust.
The red dust is a vital concept in both Buddhist and Taoist literature. It represents the mortal world, the realm of sensory illusions, endless desires, attachments, honor, disgrace, and violence. It is the literal dust kicked up by the constant, pointless, frantic scurrying of humanity.
The eternal rat race.
The ultimate rat race. Everyone else in this narrative, the assassins, the criminals, the magistrates, the tavern owner, is choking on this red dust. They're obsessed with revenge, with legacy, with survival. But Jigong sings that he is waiting for the five movements to be empty.
Wait, pause for a second. What exactly are the five movements in this context?
It is a reference to the five skandhas, or the five aggregates of clinging in Buddhist philosophy. They are form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Buddhism teaches that what we consider to be ourself is just a temporary grouping of these five aggregates.
Interesting.
When you realize that these aggregates are empty, meaning they have no permanent independent essence, you achieve liberation from suffering. Jigong is saying he recognizes that his own ego and the entire physical world is an illusion.
But let me push back on this interpretation for a minute.
Sure.
Is he actually displaying the freedom of enlightenment, or is he just being incredibly arrogant? Because bullying people, mocking assassins, and acting like you're above the rules feels pretty petty for a holy man. Does enlightenment just mean you get to be a jerk to everyone who isn't enlightened?
That is a very valid critique, and it cuts to the heart of the crazy monk archetype in Chan or Zen Buddhism.
The crazy monk archetype.
Yeah. There is a tradition, often called the crazy cloud tradition, seen in figures like the Japanese monk Ikkyu, where enlightened masters deliberately break monastic rules and act outrageously to shock people out of their conventional thinking.
Okay, so it's on purpose.
Right, it's called pedagogical provocation. By acting arrogant, drinking wine, and carrying a pumpkin instead of a holy relic, Jigong is deliberately mocking the rigid, hypocritical structures of society.
Oh, I see.
The contrast is profound. The assassins were physically paralyzed by a magical spell, but philosophically they were completely paralyzed by their worldly desires long before Jigong ever pointed a finger at them.
They were trapped in the red dust, completely blind to it.
Yes.
And this setup leads to what I think is the most fascinating part, because Jigong doesn't just sing a song and hope they learn a lesson. He actively decides to put on a theatrical masterclass that forces these assassins to physically experience the illusion of the red dust firsthand.
He invites them to play out their ultimate fantasy, fully aware of how it will end.
Yeah, so the magic spell eventually wears off. Zhao Liang and He King can move again.
Yeah.
Have they reflected on their impotence? Have they internalized the mountain song?
Not at all.
Absolutely not. They are more obsessed with killing him than ever. They track him to the famous Linyan temple. As Jigong arrives, he speaks to the gatekeeper monk. But he doesn't just say hello. He speaks loudly, specifically ensuring the assassins hiding in the shadows can hear him, and gives his exact coordinates.
He yells it out.
He yells, "I live in the West Courtyard, West Hall, first room from the north. If anyone wants to beat me or strangle me to death, go to that room."
And the gatekeeper naturally assumes he's a half-crazy monk. But the assassins are thrilled. Their cognitive dissonance is remarkable.
It really is.
Rather than suspecting a trap from a man who just paralyzed them with a word, they think, excellent, he's an idiot. That saves us the trouble of searching the temple compounds tonight.
It is a brilliant psychological trap. I look at this as the ultimate test of their conditioning. Jigong just gives them his address, leaves the porch light on, and uses pure psychological warfare to completely dismantle their minds.
We need to examine how the text details the assassins' preparations for this night raid, because the author spends considerable time meticulously outlining their tactical gear.
Oh, it reads like a modern military loadout sequence.
Yeah.
They wait until the second watch of the night. They change into highly specialized gear. Black silk head wraps, 3-pronged night walking suits that button tightly at the collar to prevent snagging, and soft-soled shoes designed for absolutely silent footsteps on roof tiles.
Everything has a purpose.
Right. They make sure every bone button and loop is fastened securely. They bring utility pouches loaded with specific operational tools, a 1,000-mile fire starter, a self-lighting lamp, skeleton keys, and hidden blades sheathed in soft leather to avoid making a metallic ringing sound. They are fully, perfectly kitted out.
This exhaustive level of detail serves a specific thematic purpose. The author is intentionally grounding the assassins in the hypermaterial world. They rely entirely on their buttons, their pouches, their specialized shoes, and their physical agility to execute a perfect raid using their skills of flying over ease and walking on walls. They represent the absolute pinnacle of worldly material capability.
You know, if you're listening to this and wondering why this matters, think about how modern people often over-prepare for the wrong battles.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you ever spent 3 hours meticulously drafting, editing, and spell-checking the perfect angry email to a coworker, convincing yourself that this specific combination of words will completely destroy them and validate your entire existence?
Yes.
You invest all this emotional tactical gear into a conflict that, in the grand scheme of things, does not matter at all. That is exactly what these assassins are doing with their night-walking suits.
That is a perfect modern parallel. They're obsessing over the mechanics of the conflict while entirely missing the reality of the situation.
And then they actually arrive at Jigong's room. He's exactly where he said he'd be. They peek through a small hole in the paper window, and the setup inside is hilarious.
It's so good.
The room is completely barren. 1 bed, 1 table, nothing else. And Jigong has actively manipulated the temple's logistics just to mess with them.
Yeah.
The text notes that temple rules dictate each monk gets exactly 2 spoons of oil for their lamp at night. Jigong bullied the quartermaster into giving him a massive backlog of oil for all the months he was away, specifically so he could keep his lamp burning brightly enough for the assassins to see inside.
He is meticulously stage managing his own assassination attempt. He provides the lighting, the location, and the props.
And the main prop is incredible. What is he using as a pillow on his bed? The winter gourd he carried all the way from the tavern.
The stage is set for the psychological dismantling.
So Jialing tells his partner to stand watch outside while he goes in for the kill. He creaks up to the door, complete silence. He is just about to pry it open. And suddenly, from inside the empty room, Jigong speaks loudly. "Good thing! How bold of you!"
Right when he's about to strike.
Jialing really jumps out of his skin. He assumes he's been spotted by a master martial artist. He freezes. His adrenaline spikes. Then Jigong continues, "Are you trying to bite me? What a huge mouse!"
And the tension instantly evaporates into absurdity.
Jialing thinks, "Oh, thank God, the crazy monk is just talking to a rat." So he waits. He stands in the freezing cold for a long time until he hears the monk snoring. Okay, time to strike again.
Here we go.
He reaches for the door, and again, Jigong speaks out loud to the empty room. "Good thing. You are really looking for death, trying to harm me." Jialing's heart is pounding out of his chest again. He is paralyzed with fear.
Yeah.
And then Jigong adds, "What a huge scorpion. Good thing I wasn't asleep. That would have been terrible."
We mentioned pedagogical provocation earlier, and this is it in practice. Jigong is weaponizing the assassin's own hypervigilance against them.
He's just playing with them.
Completely. These men are carrying an immense cognitive load. They're focused on stealth, murder, avenging their brother, and escaping alive. Their nervous systems are maxed out. By introducing a jarring, completely irrelevant variable, an imaginary giant scorpion, Jigong crashes their mental operating system. He is proving the point from his song. They are entirely at the mercy of their own sensory illusions. A shadow or a spoken word can control them completely.
He makes elite, cold-blooded killers stand shivering in the dark for hours because he's pretending to look at a bug. The humiliation is staggering.
Yeah.
Finally, it hits the third watch, the dead of night. Jigong's snoring is incredibly loud. Zhao Liang finally slips into the room. The lamp has burned low, so the light is dim. He blows it out to be safe. It's pitch black. He spreads out an oilcloth on the floor.
The moment of truth.
He reaches out toward the bed, feels what he thinks is a round, hairless object, exactly like a monk's shaved head, brings his blade down in one swift, brutal chop, wraps the head tightly in the cloth, and flees into the night with his partner.
They execute the physical mechanics of the raid perfectly. The stealth approach, the lethal strike, the silent escape. By the strict material rules of their martial world, they have achieved total, flawless victory.
But the audience knows exactly what just happened. He just executed a winter gourd.
And this is where the narrative shifts from a comedy of errors back to profound philosophical critique.
Yeah.
The assassins truly believe they have achieved their vengeance. They believe they have altered reality, righted a cosmic wrong, and restored the honor of their brotherhood. But they have, quite literally, stolen an illusion.
An illusion.
They're sprinting away into the darkness, physically clutching a manifestation of their own ignorance.
That is such a striking visual. Two elite killers running through the dark, passionately hugging a squash, entirely convinced they're heroes. Which leads us to the final sequence of our source material and the aftermath of this perfect raid. It's the journey to Jiangxi.
Right. Believing their bloody task in Lin is complete, the assassins feel they need to tie up the final loose end of their brotherhood's honor. The text expands the scope of their illusion beyond just the assassination.
Right, because earlier we learned that Hua Yunlong wasn't just a lone wolf. He was recruited into this outlaw brotherhood by a specific man, Yang Ming, a powerful figure known as the leader of the 36 Friends. How did this recruitment network actually function?
The text mentions the Greenwood Invitation and the Greenwood Arrow.
Okay, what are those?
These were essentially the administrative tools of the outlaw world. An invitation was a formal request to join a coalition, and the arrow acted as a token of authority or a call to arms, demanding mutual aid. If you accepted the arrow, you were bound by blood oath to protect your brothers.
So Zhao Liang and He King are furious because Yang Ming, this powerful leader who issued the arrow and brought Hua into the fold, did absolutely nothing to save him when he was arrested in Linen. They want accountability.
It was another layer of their obsession with the rules of the Red Dust. Having killed the monk, they now seek to enforce the bureaucratic rules of a corrupt, violent system. They are demanding honor among thieves.
So they travel for days. The text says, hungry, they eat, thirsty, they drink, traveling by day, resting by night. They cross a massive portion of the country, finally arriving at Rui village in Jingji province.
Long journey.
They locate the imposing front door of Yang Ming, a man whose literal nickname is awe-inspiring in 8 directions. They are standing there, righteously angry, fully prepared to confront him. They have the cloth bundle containing the head of the monk to prove their ultimate loyalty and shame Yang Ming for his cowardice.
This is the absolute climax of their righteous, vengeance-fueled journey.
And as they stand at the door, preparing to knock, well, not a knock, as they prepare to knock, they look up. They let out a sudden gasp, and the text simply says they suddenly realize something. And that is exactly where the chapter ends, on a massive, agonizing cliffhanger.
It is a masterful stroke of serial storytelling.
I am dying to know. What did they realize? Did they see Jigong standing in the window? Did the oilcloth start leaking pumpkin juice down their legs? Did the vegetables start to rot and smell terrible over the multi-day journey? Did they finally untie the knot to look at their prize?
The structure of classic Chinese literature originally evolved from oral storytelling traditions in the Song and Ming dynasties.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the storyteller would literally pause the narrative at the most dramatic moment and say, if you want to know what happens next, listen to the next chapter, often expecting a donation from the crowd before continuing.
That makes sense.
But beyond just being a mechanical plot device to hook the reader, this specific cliffhanger perfectly serves the thematic arc we've been discussing.
How does the cliffhanger connect to the Buddhist philosophy?
Well, think about the physical and emotional journey these two men just undertook. They traveled across the country, fueled entirely by righteous anger and a completely false sense of victory. They have been carrying this heavy bundle, guarding it with their lives, valuing it as the ultimate symbol of their martial success and their brotherhood's honor. The cliffhanger represents the exact horrifying moment that the rolling red dust finally parts for them.
Wow.
It is the precise moment the illusion shatters. The harsh, deeply embarrassing reality of what they have actually done crashes down on them all at once. They aren't legendary Avengers restoring cosmic balance. They are two absolute fools who've been carrying around a rotting vegetable for a week.